Alright, in this After Effects lesson, I'm going to get into time in keyframes, and this is going to be the Intro to Animation part 1 of 2. I think I'll probably do it in 2 lessons. So I'm going to start with creating a rectangle. You can do any color. I'll do this one yellow. And we're going to go ahead and create a rectangle. This is my anchor point. I'm going to hit the Y button. Oh, here, let me get my selection tool first. Let me go down here, select my shape layer. I'm going to hit the keyboard, the P for position. And now let me see if I can hit the Y button. Yeah, so I'm holding down the Y button and I'm selecting it, and I'm holding down that Y button as I'm moving it up into the rectangle. Okay. And I'm going to hit the stopwatch here for a keyframe. We'll go down here to 3 seconds, and I'm going to move my rectangle across the board so it will just go across, straight across. And it's hard to see these because, there's little dots, they're frames. So I'm going to make this timing. I'm going to move it from 3 seconds down into about, we'll just do it for 1 second right now, just so you can see those frames. They get a little bit more space in between. That means it's going to go faster. So let me go ahead and make some copies of this. I'm going to do a edit copy, and then edit paste, and then I'm just going to hit Command V or paste because I want 4. Then we'll do edit paste. So now I have 4 of these. I'm going to select all 4, and I'm going to hit the P for position. So I have them all selected. When I hit the P, all the positions will open up and it'll show me the keyframe that's on all of them. Okay. Now I'm going to select the first one. So shape layer 1, and I'm going to let me move my time indicator at the beginning. Let me hit the position, and I'm going to click and drag on that rectangle and drag it down. You can also hit the shift if you want it to kind of line up better. I'm going to do the same thing for layer 2. I'm going to select the position right here, down here in the timeline. I'm just going to select it and then drag it down. Same thing for the next one, for the third one. I'm doing this with the selection tool. So select position, and I'm just clicking and dragging it, moving it down. So I'm really just wanting to compare the timing. So basically on all of these, let me collect, so I'm going to hit Command, and I'm going to select each one of these positions. That way you can see those frames and what they will do each time I change it. So let's go down to my first one. I'm going to have to deselect it though, just to change it. So let me go to my first one, select position, and I just want 1 frame. So let me click off, and then I'm going to click on the keyframe. That's going to be my slow one. Then I'll just make it a little bit faster each time. But as you can see, the shorter the amount of time, so this one's 3 seconds, this is 2 seconds, and we'll make this one, maybe we'll make that, keep that one at 1, and we'll do that one at about a half a second. And let me go back and Command select each one of the positions, that way you can see all of these keyframes. And then I'm going to hit, let me go into Window, we'll do Preview, and I'm just going to play, that way you can see. So you can see the top one has the shortest amount of time, and it is very fast. And the second one goes a little bit faster and down the line. And let's go back, and you can see how the frames look on each one of these also. So once again, the space in between, that's the faster it will go, and then as the space gets shorter, the slower it goes. So that's something to keep in mind when you're trying to vary your speed. Okay, now I'm going to turn these two off, the bottom two off, if it'll let me. And I got something where it's selecting all of them. Oh, you know what? I got them all selected. That's why. Let me click off. There we go. I'm going to click off those bottom two. Let's make this one. So for this one, I'm going to try to make it go fast and then slow. So we call it easy ease, or ease in, ease out. So I want it to go fast. So big gaps here, and then have the timing get shorter and shorter, and slower as I get out here. So right now I'm going to do it manually and put some keyframes in. So let me start at the halfway mark, and I'm on the shape layer 3 is the one I'm working on right here and down here. So let me add I'm just going to move the time indicator, and then once I move my rectangle, that'll automatically give me my keyframe. So I'm clicking and I'm dragging. I'm also hitting the shift and moving it to the right. Oops. And I didn't mean to move it upward. Let me do click, drag. Okay. So basically my keyframe is still here in the center here. But when I look at it on here, you'll see it's not really in the middle. I've moved it, I've shifted it. But you can see the frames are wider, and as you get in and get closer, I'm going to hit my spacebar for my hand button so you can kind of look around here. Kind of hard to see because of all these handles. So here's one of my keyframes. Here's my keyframe right here. And then there's my first keyframe down here. You can see it goes fast, and then it gets a little bit slower. Oops. So let me zoom out. I'm hitting the space bar, and I'm hitting my middle mouse button to zoom out. I'll also like coming down here and go to fit to 100%. Hit my space bar for the preview. You can kind of see it. Here, let me turn this one off. So you see it get slower, but it gets kind of sticky. Let me see if I can change it up a little bit more. Even if I can even get it a little more. Let me even add some more keyframes. Like, let's add one here. Let's try to get it even slower. So I'm going to click and drag to the right. And if you can see it, if you look down in here, the frames are getting even shorter and shorter than here. Okay. And let's maybe add one here too. We're just going to click and drag it to the right, getting these frames even faster. And you can see it does work, but you see it kind of sticks when I'm doing it. So now we'll look at the graph editor, which is a tool that will kind of fix this and make it all smooth, which looks much more better. It looks better and a little more professional. So let's go into our top one, our shape 4, and once again I'm going to move this keyframe down here to the 3-second. Okay, I'm going to select that position. I'm going to click on right here, which is in our timelines, these little tools up here, and the one on the right is the graph editor. And that will change this area down here. Now here's our line that shows our motion. Oh, and in this downward area, also right click and make sure you're in the edit speed graph right here. This is the one we want, and it should look like this. So basically showing the rate, which is the pixels per second, like our miles per hour. So I'm going to move this in here. I'm going to go down. So as I move this down, and you look up here at the frames, you'll notice it changes. You'll notice on the right parts of the frames, right in here, do you see how it gets? The frames are getting slower and shorter, and these are still about the same. But let's go ahead and we're going to drag this handle edge right here. I'm going to click on that and drag it. See, I'm going to move it left and right, and that affects the look of the line. And plus, it's also making these lines smaller and smaller, and it's getting faster and faster up here. Let's move this one up more. You can see if you watch up here, it's getting even wider and wider, which is faster and faster. So it's going to go really fast and then really slow. So let's take a look. Let's hit our preview. It almost goes too slow at the very end. We can always change our graph editor if it goes too slow. All sorts of things you can do to change it. Let's see what that does. There we go. That looks a little better. So once again, fast up here, and then it goes into the slow down here. And let's compare that to our last one that we did manually. So you can see how the difference looks. You can see how this one goes really fast and it goes really slow. And doesn't have a little stickiness to it. Okay, and then you can also see how much more. See, in here, you'd need to try to somehow work it to where it's a little more even in between these areas, in between the keyframes too. Instead of just these abrupt certain size gaps and then these size gaps. But anyways, I think you get the point, and that's just a way of controlling the timing with the graph editor. And that's it for this lesson.